Welcome to Monk's Moon Temple. There is a sound beneath all sounds. A quiet hum that exists just below the noise of your thoughts, the rush of your day, the chatter of the world. It's the sound of your own being, here, now. A tone so steady and constant, we've learned to tune it out, like the distant, forgotten drone of a refrigerator in an empty house. But if you listen, in the pauses, you can hear it. It's the baseline of presence. The fundamental note of now. Tonight, we're going to listen for that tone together. Not by adding anything to your mind, but by gently setting aside everything that covers it up. We'll walk through quiet ideas and share stories from dusty roads and city streets, from ancient traditions and modern science. We'll explore not how to become peaceful, but how to remember the peace that has never left you. It's been here all along, patiently waiting for you to stop moving long enough to notice. So, wherever you are, whatever weight you've been carrying, you can set it down for these hours. Let your body relax into whatever supports it. Let your eyes soften or close. And just listen. To my voice. To the silence between the words. To that quiet hum of your own aliveness, right here, right now. Let's begin. Close your eyes for a moment, if you feel comfortable. Feel the touch of the air on your skin. Notice the exact points where your body meets the world. The pressure of your seat, the weight of your clothes, the solid floor beneath your feet. Don't try to change these sensations. Just become curious about them. This is the landscape of the present moment. It's not dramatic. It's not special. It's profoundly ordinary. And it's the only place where your life is actually, physically, happening. The core of what we'll explore tonight is what the Buddha called dukkha. It's often translated as suffering, but that word is too small. Dukkha is the subtle, persistent sense of unease, of something being off. It's the feeling of a shoe that doesn't quite fit, a note played slightly out of tune in the song of your life. We feel it as anxiety about tomorrow, as regret about yesterday, as a low-grade dissatisfaction with the way things are right now. The Buddha's revolutionary discovery wasn't just that this feeling exists. Anyone can see that. His discovery was its cause. He said, in essence, dukkha arises when we try to make the fluid, changing, impersonal reality of life fit into the rigid, demanding, personal containers of our desires and fears. Think of it this way. Life is like a powerful, wide river. It has its own currents, its own pace, its own direction. You are born into this river. Now, most of us spend our entire lives trying to do one of two things. We either try to swim upstream, fighting against the current of what's actually happening, fueled by our craving for things to be different, this shouldn't be happening. I want it my way. Or we try to grab onto passing branches and rocks, clinging to pleasant experiences, to identities, to possessions, hoping they will anchor us and stop the flow, because we fear what's downstream. Both strategies, the fighting and the clinging, are exhausting. They create splashing, struggle, and a feeling of being perpetually at risk of drowning. The peace we seek isn't found by winning the fight or finding the perfect branch to cling to. It's found by turning over and floating. By letting the river hold you. By aligning your body with its current. You're still in the river. You still feel its coolness, its movement. But you are no longer at war with it. This is the path of presence. Learning to float in the river of your actual experience, rather than exhausting yourself fighting it. I learned a version of this lesson not from a monk, but from a surf instructor in the chilly waters of the Pacific Northwest. I was terrified of the ocean, of its power, of being out of control. I'd paddle frantically, fight the waves, and end up gulping salt water and being tossed onto the sand. One day, she stopped me. "You're trying to command the ocean," she said. "You can't. Your job isn't to command it. Your job is to respond to it. To feel it. To listen." She had me just lie on my board, past the breakers, and do nothing. Just feel the lift and fall. Feel how the water holds you. Your breath, the board, the water, let them be one thing. For the first time, I stopped fighting. I felt the immense, gentle lift of a swell beneath me. I felt the board rise and fall like it was breathing. In that moment of not fighting, of pure sensing, there was no fear. There was just participation. An awe-filled, peaceful participation in something vast. When the right wave finally came, she didn't yell, "Paddle." She said, "Feel it. Now, join it." And I did. I didn't conquer the wave. I joined its energy for a glorious, fleeting ride. That's the shift, from commanding life to responding to it. From fighting the river to feeling its support and joining its flow. If that idea of joining the flow, rather than fighting it, speaks to you, consider subscribing to Monk's Temple. It helps us keep creating this shared space of learning and practice, a quiet harbor you can return to whenever the seas get rough. Now, this floating, this responding, requires a certain quality of attention. We usually operate with what I call spotlight attention. Our focus is narrow, bright, and intense, like a spotlight on a dark stage. It picks out one thing. A problem, a desire, a worry. Everything else, the rest of the stage, the other actors, the whole context, falls into darkness. This is useful for solving specific puzzles, but it's terrible for living. It makes the one thing we're focused on seem like the only thing. A pain in your knee becomes, "My ruined life." A critical comment becomes, "Proof I'm worthless." Spotlight attention creates drama and isolation. What we need to cultivate is lantern attention. Imagine instead of a spotlight, you carry a gentle lantern. It doesn't blaze with intensity on one spot. It casts a soft, warm, diffuse light all around you. It illuminates the pain in your knee, yes, but also the feeling of the chair supporting your back, the sound of the wind outside, the memory of a kindness you received yesterday, the simple fact of your breathing. With lantern attention, nothing is isolated. Everything is held in a wider, kinder field of awareness. The pain is still there, but it's no longer the star of a tragic one-act play. It's just one actor in a rich, complex, and ultimately workable scene. The practice of mindfulness is the practice of lowering the blinding spotlight and lifting the gentle lantern. This is where we bump into one of our greatest obstacles, the belief that we need to be different to be at peace. We come to spiritual practice like a homeowner with a to-fix list. Fix the anxious mind. Fix the quick temper. Fix the tendency to worry. Then, and only then, will this house be habitable. We treat ourselves like a fixer-upper, living in the dusty construction site of our own potential, miserable in the present because it doesn't match the blueprint of the future. This is a profound misunderstanding. Let me tell you a story from the high, dry plains of central Mexico, in the town of San Miguel de Allende. There's a famous, centuries-old church there called Parroquia de San Miguel Arcangel. Its facade is a stunning, pink stone fantasy of spires and filigree. But the story goes that the original architect, a self-taught indigenous stonemason named Zeferino Gutierrez, didn't work from detailed blueprints. He worked from a postcard. A postcard of a European Gothic cathedral. He used it as inspiration, not as a strict instruction manual. And he built with the materials at hand, with the skills he had, adapting the vision to the reality of the stone, the tools, and his own unique imagination. The result isn't a perfect copy of the European ideal. It's something else entirely, a magnificent, unique, deeply local masterpiece. It is what it is because of its imperfections, its adaptations, its creative responses to real-world constraints. You are that church. You are not a flawed copy of some ideal, enlightened blueprint. You are a unique, evolving masterpiece built in real time with the materials of your genetics, your history, your culture, your joys, and your wounds. The anxious mind. That's part of the intricate carving. The quick temper. That's a particular hue in the stone. Your practice isn't about tearing down this structure to build a correct one from a blueprint. It's about learning to see the breathtaking beauty and profound wisdom in the structure that's already here. It's about becoming the loving caretaker of this unique sanctuary, rather than its frustrated, would-be demolisher. Science offers us a fascinating lens here, from the world of ecology. In a healthy forest, there is no waste. A fallen tree isn't a failure. It becomes a nurse log. It decays, providing nutrients for the soil, a home for insects, fungi, and small mammals, and a moist, fertile bed for the seeds of the next generation of trees to sprout. What looks like death and decay from a narrow view is, from the wider view of the ecosystem, a vital act of regeneration and support. Your so-called flaws, your failures, your periods of decay, they are your nurse logs. They are breaking down to provide fertile ground for new growth. That anxious mind might make you more empathetic. That past failure taught you resilience you now rely on. That heartbreak opened chambers of compassion you didn't know you had. When you judge yourself as broken, you're looking at the fallen log with the eyes of a lumberjack who sees only ruined timber. When you learn to see with the eyes of an ecologist, you see a sacred, life-giving process in which nothing is wasted and everything belongs. The Buddha's term for this wider, ecological view is dependent origination. It means that nothing exists in isolation. Everything arises in dependence upon a complex web of causes and conditions. You, in this moment, are a swirling nexus of influences: the food you ate, the conversation you had, the weather, your ancestry, the book you read last week, the state of the planet. To isolate one thread, your mood, your thought, and blame a solitary you, for it is like blaming a single drop of water for the shape of the wave. It misses the point entirely. This understanding isn't meant to remove responsibility. It's meant to replace blame with clarity. When you see your reactivity as arising from conditions, tiredness, hunger, an old wound being poked, you can address the conditions with wisdom, rather than attacking the symptom, my terrible self, with hatred. You stop waging war on a single drop and start learning about the ocean. This leads us to a practice. It's deceptively simple. I call it the pause of the 3 breaths. You can do it anywhere, anytime. When you feel the spotlight attention narrowing, when you feel the old, fix it, urge rising, when you feel yourself starting to fight the river or cling to a branch, just pause. Take 3 conscious breaths. On the first breath, simply acknowledge, a difficult moment has arisen. No judgment. Just the fact. On the second breath, feel the sensations in your body. Where is the feeling living? Tight chest. Knotted stomach. Just feel it. On the third breath, gently widen the lantern. Ask. What else is true, right now? Maybe it's the color of the sky out the window. Maybe it's the presence of a pet nearby. Maybe it's the simple miracle that your lungs are still drawing air. 3 breaths. Acknowledge, feel, widen. This tiny ritual is a radical act of rebellion against the tyranny of the spotlight. It is you, remembering that you are the holder of the lantern. We've just begun our journey. We've touched the core idea. That peace is found not in changing the river, but in changing our relationship to it, from fighting to floating. We've seen how our narrow attention creates suffering, and how we can learn to soften it. And we've challenged the idea that we need to be fixed, learning instead to see ourselves as unique, ecological masterpieces. In the next part, we'll delve deeper into the nature of the thoughts and stories that make the river seem so threatening. We'll learn how to relate to the mind's chatter not as the voice of truth, but as weather passing through the sky of our awareness. But for now, just rest in this. You are here. You are listening. The river is flowing. And in this moment, you are not fighting it. You are simply present with its sound. That is enough. That is more than enough. Let's continue. In our last moments together, we began to feel what it's like to float instead of fight. To hold a lantern instead of a spotlight. But if that's so natural, why does it feel so hard? Why does the mind so fiercely resist the present moment? It's because the mind has a job, and it's very, very good at it. Its job is not to make you happy. Its job is to keep you safe. To problem solve. To anticipate threat. It's a brilliant survival machine. But like a loyal guard dog left in an empty house, it can start barking at shadows, treating every passing car, every creak of the floorboards, as a potential intruder. Your thoughts are not the truth. They are the barking of a protective, but often misguided, guardian. Tonight, we're going to get to know this guardian. Not to silence it, but to understand its language, to soothe its fears, and to learn when its barking is useful signal and when it's just noise echoing in an empty hallway. To begin, let's do a small experiment. Right now, as you listen, notice the next thought that pops into your head. It might be about these words, a memory, a plan for later. Just notice it. Where did it come from? Did you deliberately choose it? Or did it just appear? For most of us, thoughts arise like clouds in the sky of awareness. Unbidden, changing shape, drifting through. We didn't paint the clouds and put them there. We simply find them passing overhead. Yet, we have a powerful habit. We see a cloud shaped like a dragon and we think, a dragon is coming. I must prepare for fire. We confuse the cloud for reality. We believe our thoughts. The Buddha had a name for this relentless thought creation process, papanka, often translated as mental proliferation or conceptual elaboration. It's the mind's tendency to take a simple seed of sensation and build a whole forest of story around it. A twinge in the stomach becomes, I'm getting sick, which becomes, I'll miss work, which becomes, I'll lose my job, which becomes, I'll end up homeless. The mind leaps from sensation to catastrophe in a few effortless bounds. This is the guard dog not just barking at a shadow, but writing a full novel about the shadow's evil intentions, its tragic backstory, and its inevitable attack. Let me give you an original metaphor. Imagine your awareness is a vast, clear, still mountain lake. Sensations, sounds, physical feelings, sights, are like pebbles dropped into the lake. Plink. A ripple spreads out. That's the initial, pure experience. Now, the untrained mind doesn't just notice the ripple. It immediately jumps into the water and starts swimming with the ripple. It follows it out, adds its own energy, creates more waves. This ripple means this. That means that. Pretty soon, the once still lake is a churning chaos of cross waves, all started from one small pebble. The practice of mindfulness is learning to stay on the shore. To watch the pebble drop. Plink. To watch the perfect, concentric ripples spread out. And to let them fade naturally, without diving in after them. To be the lake, not the swimmer caught in the self-made storm. I saw this play out beautifully, and humorously, in the Amsterdam airport once. I was waiting for a delayed flight. A man near me got a notification on his phone. He frowned. A simple pebble, a flight delay. I watched his face. I could almost see the ripples proliferate. His frown deepened, worry about connections. He started pacing, anxiety building. He made an angry call, frustration boiling over. He glared at the airport staff, blame and resentment. Within 10 minutes, this man was in a full, private storm of suffering. The delay was real, maybe an hour. But the mental storm he created, the stories about incompetence, the fear of domino effect ruin, the anger. That was the 90% suffering he added on top of the 10% actual inconvenience. He wasn't on the shore of his lake. He was thrashing in the waves, convinced he was drowning in an hour of waiting. Most of our suffering is exactly that, not the pebble, but the thrashing. So how do we stay on the shore? We develop what's called meta-awareness, awareness of awareness itself. It's the part of you that can notice, I am now thinking about the future. Or, I'm starting to swim with that ripple of anger. It's the gentle parent who notices the child is having a tantrum, rather than being the child having the tantrum. This meta-awareness creates a critical space. A gap between the stimulus, the pebble, the barking dog, and your full identification with it. Here's a practical, science-backed tool to widen that gap. It's called cognitive diffusion, from acceptance and commitment therapy, ACT. When a stressful or repetitive thought arises, instead of wrestling with its content, am I a failure? Let me list all the reasons I might be. You simply label it and change your relationship to it. You say, I am having the thought that I am a failure. Or, more playfully, thank you, mind, for that uplifting commentary. Or sing the thought to the tune of Happy Birthday. It sounds silly, but it works. By naming the process, having a thought, you separate your conscious awareness from the thought itself. You move from being the thought to observing the thought. You are no longer drowning in the wave, you're watching it from a safe vantage point. The thought loses its sticky, convincing power. It becomes a cloud again, not the sky. Now, the guard dog of the mind barks loudest about two things, the past and the future. It drags bones from the past to gnaw on, regret, resentment, nostalgia. And it barks hysterically at phantoms of the future, worry, planning, fantasy. The present moment, by contrast, is often quiet. Too quiet for the guard dog's liking. So it ignores the quiet, now, to make noise about, then, and, when. Let's personify these two. Imagine you have two assistants who live in your mind. One is the historian. The historian's job is to archive everything. But he's not a calm librarian. He's a dramatic, obsessive film director. He constantly screens highlight reels and bloopers from your past, but he edits them with a heavy hand. He plays the painful scenes in slow motion, with a tragic soundtrack. He skips over the peaceful, ordinary days entirely. He believes his dramatic cut is the definitive story of your life. Your other assistant is the scenario planner. Her job is to prepare for every possible future. But she suffers from a catastrophic imagination. For her, preparation isn't making a grocery list. It's drafting evacuation plans for asteroid strikes. She spends 95% of her time planning for 5% probability events, leaving you feeling perpetually unprepared and anxious. Yes, but what if, is her favorite phrase. Most of us let these two assistants run the executive board meeting of our minds. The result is a company always analyzing last quarter's losses while in a panic about next quarter's potential disasters, with no one actually running the business of the present day. Your practice is to gently, kindly, escort both the historian and the scenario planner out of the boardroom. Thank them for their reports. Tell them you'll call if you need them. And then sit, alone, in the quiet room of the present. Feel the chair under you. Hear the hum of now. This is where the actual business of living gets done. A powerful story that reshaped my relationship with these assistants came from a taxi driver in Marrakesh. He was navigating the chaotic, vibrant Jima El Fna Square, a swirling dance of pedestrians, scooters, carts, and animals. To my foreign eyes, it was pure, terrifying chaos. I was braced for impact, my scenario planner in overdrive. But the driver was calm, almost serene. He wasn't jerking the wheel or swearing. He was flowing. I asked him how he stayed so calm. He smiled in the rearview mirror. The square is like a river, he said. If you fight it, you crash. If you try to plan every move 3 cars ahead, you freeze. I do not look at the whole river. I look at the space directly in front of my car. Just this 1 meter. I move into that space. Then I look at the next meter. The river gives you the space, meter by meter, if you are looking for it. The past car that cut me off is gone. The future crossing up ahead is not here yet. There is only this meter. This is enough space to live. This meter. That is the radical unit of present moment living. Not the whole terrifying river of your life story. Not the catastrophic map of your future. Just this meter of experience right in front of you. The next breath. The next sensation. The next simple action. When you focus on this meter, the historian and the scenario planner lose their jobs. There's nothing for them to do here. We can ground this in neuroscience. The brain's default mode network, DMN, is the circuit that lights up when we're not focused on a task, when we're daydreaming, ruminating about the past, or worrying about the future. It's the historians and scenario planners neural network. Studies show that experienced meditators have a less active, less tightly wired DMN. Their brains have literally changed through practice. They are less prone to getting hijacked by the self-referential stories of past and future. Furthermore, practices that anchor you in the body or the senses, like feeling the breath or listening to sounds, activate different networks, like the salience network, pulling energy and attention away from the DMN's chatter. You are not just calming down. You are physically, neurologically, moving from the story-making brain to the sensory-experiencing brain. You're moving from the boardroom to the river itself. Let me share a personal anecdote about wrestling with my own historian. For years, I carried a specific memory of a public speaking failure, a time I froze on stage, mumbled, and walked off to quiet embarrassment. My historian played that clip on a loop. It became part of my identity. I am someone who chokes under pressure. It stopped me from accepting opportunities, casting a long shadow from a 2-minute event years in the past. The shift didn't come from convincing myself it wasn't that bad. It came from a practice called memory recontextualization. I sat down, got still, and deliberately called up the memory. But instead of getting sucked into the old movie, I imagined myself as a compassionate observer in the back of the room that day. I saw a young man, nervous, trying his best. I saw his fear, his hope, his humiliation. And from the back of the room, I felt nothing but compassion for him. I wished I could have given him a glass of water, a pat on the shoulder. I saw the event not as a defining failure, but as a moment of human vulnerability. The memory's emotional charge, its power to shame me in the present, simply dissolved. It became a neutral piece of history, a fossil, instead of a live wire. I had escorted the historian out of the boardroom and taken his dramatic film reel with him. Your turn. Think of a memory that still holds a sting. Just for a moment, experiment. Can you see it from a wider angle? From the ceiling of the room, or through the eyes of a kind stranger? Can you see the you in that memory as someone doing their best with the conditions they had? This isn't about denying what happened. It's about changing your present moment relationship to what happened. You are freeing the past from the historian's dramatic editing and letting it be simply past. Our work for this part is to become familiar with the mind's machinery, the barking dog, the rippling lake, the overworked assistants, the default mode network. We see that our thoughts are not commands, not truths, but artifacts of a protective, story-creating process. We learn to create space through meta-awareness, diffusion, and the radical focus on this meter. In the next part, we'll take this understanding deeper into the heart of what we're actually clinging to, the sense of a solid, separate, permanent self. We'll explore the liberating insight that this self we've been trying to fix and protect is, itself, more like a river than a statue. And we'll find that this realization is not a loss, but the key to coming home. But for now, just practice being the lake. Let a thought pebble drop. Plink. Watch the ripples form. And just watch them spread and fade in the vast, still water of your awareness. You don't have to swim. You are the lake. Let's continue. We've been learning to watch the ripples on the lake, to listen to the barking of the guard dog with kinder ears. We've met the historian and the scenario planner. But this raises a deeper, more fundamental question: who is watching? Who is the one listening to the thoughts, feeling the sensations, aware of the lake itself? We point to our chest and say, me. I am. This I feels so solid, so central, so permanent. It's the main character in the movie of our life. All our suffering, in a way, is the suffering of this I, its fears, its desires, its wounds. Our entire civilization is built around its protection and expression. But what if this I is not what we think it is? What if our most basic assumption about ourselves is the very source of our unease? This is the territory of one of the Buddha's most profound and often misunderstood teachings, anatta, or not self. This is not a philosophical game. It is a direct investigation into the nature of experience, and it holds the key to profound liberation. So tonight, let's explore this not as an abstract concept, but as a felt sense. Let's look for the self not in theory, but in the actual, living data of your present experience. To begin, try this. Close your eyes. Feel into the sense of me. Where do you feel it? Most people point to the head, or the center of the chest. Okay. Now, investigate that area with gentle curiosity. What is actually there? Is it a solid thing? A homunculus sitting behind your eyes, pulling levers? Or is it a cluster of sensations, perhaps warmth, tightness, pressure, vibration? Notice how these sensations change. The tightness ebbs and flows. The vibration shifts. There is no stable, static thing to be found. There is only a flowing, changing process of sensation. The sense of me is more like a vortex in a river, a persistent pattern of swirling water that creates the appearance of a stable object, but is, in fact, nothing but the river itself in motion. The Buddha taught that what we call the self is a composite of 5 shifting processes, called the 5 aggregates, khandhas. Think of them not as parts of a machine, but as 5 streams flowing together to create the illusion of a solid island. First, form. This is the stream of physicality. Your body and the entire material world. It is in constant motion, cells renewing themselves, food being digested, the subtle and not so subtle process of aging, always happening. Second, sensation. This is the stream of feeling tone. Every single experience carries a basic, felt quality. Pleasant, unpleasant, or simply neutral. This feeling tone is not static, it shifts and changes by the second. Third, perception. This is the stream of recognition and labeling. Tree. Friend. Pain. This is the mind's mechanism for mapping reality, for creating a usable world. Crucially, these labels are not the actual things themselves. They are pointers, not the territory. Fourth, mental formations. This is the stream of everything else the mind generates. Thoughts, emotions, intentions, volitions, habits, memories. It is a rich, chaotic, and ever-changing internal weather system, constantly in flux. Fifth, consciousness. This is the stream of bare awareness itself. It is the simple knowing of the other four streams. It is dependent and responsive. Eye consciousness arises with seeing, ear consciousness with hearing. Like all streams, it is impermanent and dependent on conditions for its existence. You are not any one of these streams. And you are not the sum of them, like a car is the sum of its parts. You are more like the space in which these five streams flow and interact. The I is the activity of clinging to these streams, of claiming them as me or mine. My body, my feeling, my opinion, my memory. Suffering is the friction that arises when these ever-changing streams are grasped at as if they were permanent possessions. Let me offer a new metaphor. Imagine you are at a grand, old-fashioned cinema. On the screen is a compelling movie, the epic drama of my life. You are utterly absorbed. You feel the hero's joy, his pain, his fear. Now, imagine you could turn around in your seat. Behind you, you see the projector. A bright, steady, silent beam of light is shining through a rapidly moving strip of celluloid. The film strip is the five aggregates, a sequence of individual, static images, form, sensation, perception. The projector light is the luminous quality of awareness itself. The movie, the compelling, continuous, emotional story of a solid self, is an illusion created by the speed of the film moving through the light. It feels real, but it's a dependent apparition. Most of us live our entire lives facing the screen, identified with the hero's drama. The practice of anatta is the gradual, courageous turning around in the seat. It's looking back at the projector and the film strip. It's realizing, I am not the drama on the screen. I am closer to the light that makes it all visible. You don't lose your story. You just stop being imprisoned by it. I witnessed a beautiful, everyday example of this in a pottery studio in rural North Carolina. A master potter was teaching a class. A student was struggling, frustrated. Her clay kept collapsing. I'm terrible at this. My hands are all wrong, she lamented, completely identified with the failure, my failure. The potter walked over, calm. He didn't talk about her hands. He said, feel the clay. Is it too wet? Tell me. He shifted her attention from the story of a deficient self, I am bad at this, to the actual, present moment data of the conditions, the clay is very wet. Then he said, now, feel the wheel's speed. Is it pulling? Again, data, not self-judgment. He had her place her hands on the clay, but he placed his own over hers. Don't make the pot, he whispered. Just feel the clay moving between your palms. Be the space between your hands where the shape can happen. Slowly, her posture changed. The frantic I that was trying to control dissolved into the sensory experience of pressure, coolness, motion. And a beautiful, simple pot began to rise from the wheel. She wasn't doing it from a place of a separate self. She was participating in a dance of clay, wool, gravity, and guided touch. The pot emerged from the space of awareness and response, not from the idea of a potter. That is anatta in action, moving from the drama of the potter who succeeds or fails, to the luminous, intelligent space where pottery happens. This is supported by modern psychology's understanding of the narrative self. We construct a story of who we are, a protagonist with a past, traits, and a future trajectory. This story is useful for social cohesion and planning, but we mistake it for our fundamental identity. When we practice mindfulness, we step out of the narrative and into the experiencing self, the one that directly feels, senses, and lives in the present moment. The narrative self is the movie. The experiencing self is the act of seeing, hearing, and feeling right now. Psychological well-being is strongly correlated with the ability to access this experiencing self, to not be fused with your own storyline. But if there's no solid, permanent self, what about morality? What about responsibility? This is a crucial point. The teaching of anatta does not lead to passivity or nihilism. In fact, it leads to greater responsibility. When you see yourself as a fixed, solid entity, I am an angry person, you feel doomed to repeat patterns. When you see experience as a flow of changing conditions, you see that anger is a temporary weather pattern arising from causes, fatigue, a trigger, old habits. You can't change a solid self, but you can influence conditions. You can rest, respond skillfully to the trigger, cultivate different habits. Your field of agency actually expands. Responsibility becomes the mindful shepherding of causes and conditions, not the punishment of a static me. Let's bring this into a challenging modern context: social media. The platform is essentially a giant self-construction kit. You curate images, thoughts, achievements, and likes to build and reinforce a solid, impressive, acceptable narrative self. You then constantly check to see if this constructed self is being validated, likes, or threatened, criticism. This is an exhausting, full-time job of maintaining a mirage. It keeps you trapped facing the movie screen, desperately adjusting the film. The practice, when engaging with these spaces, is to periodically turn around to the projector. To feel the body in the chair. To notice the impulse to check for validation as a fleeting sensation in the chest. To see the likes and comments not as verdicts on your solid self, but as pixels on a screen, arising and passing in the luminous space of your awareness. You can engage, share, connect, but from the place of the experiencing self, not the fragile, constructed narrative. This is the difference between building a statue and being a living tree. I learned a profound lesson about this from an unexpected teacher, a giant Pacific octopus at an aquarium. I was mesmerized watching it. It would flow over rocks, change color and texture to match its surroundings, its arms moving with independent intelligence. It had no rigid, central structure. Its intelligence was distributed, fluid, responsive. A biologist explained that much of its decision-making happens in its arms, not just its central brain. It is a being of adaptation, not fixed identity. Watching it, I thought, we are taught to be fortresses, to build strong, defensive walls of identity. But what if health is more like being this octopus? Fluid, intelligent, changing shape in response to the environment, with consciousness distributed through our whole being, not just locked in a fortress keep called me. The octopus doesn't cling to being red and rough. It becomes blue and smooth when it serves the moment. Our suffering is often the pain of the fortress walls cracking. The octopus knows no such pain, because it never built walls. It is a graceful dance of conditions. So, how do we practice this fluidity, this turning from the screen? Here is a core meditation on anatta. Sit comfortably. Bring attention to the breath. After a few moments, begin to ask internally, gently. Who is breathing? Don't answer conceptually. Feel. Is it the lungs? The body? Me in the head? Then ask, can I find the breather? Investigate. Look for the one who is supposed to be doing this. What you find are sensations, the rise and fall, sounds, perhaps an image. But a solid, separate breather? It eludes discovery. Then, simply rest with the breathing happening. Not my breathing. Just the phenomenon of breath, arising and passing in the field of awareness. Extend this to hearing. Who is hearing? Just sound, appearing in awareness. To thinking. Who is thinking? Just thoughts, passing through. This isn't a puzzle to be solved. It's a gesture of letting go of the search for a controller and relaxing into the experience of the process itself. You are not the actor on the screen. You are the awareness in which the entire theater, screen, film, light, and even the feeling of being an audience, all appear. This realization is not a cold emptiness. It is a profound relief. It's the relief of the river vortex realizing it doesn't have to protect its swirling pattern, it can just be the river. It's the relief of the moviegoer who can now enjoy the film without fearing for the hero's life. The heavy burden of maintaining and defending a solid self begins to dissolve. What remains is lighter, more open, more responsive, and curiously, more authentically you than the cramped character you thought you were. In the next part, we'll explore what emerges from this space of not self, a natural, unforced compassion and connection. When the walls of the separate self soften, we find we were never truly isolated islands, but part of a vast, interconnected continent of being. But for now, just rest as the awareness. Let the movie play, the thoughts, the sounds, the sensations. You are not on the screen. You are the warm, dark, silent, spacious cinema itself, in which all of life's stories are welcomed, appear, and fade. Let's continue. When the walls of the separate, solid self begin to soften, when we glimpse that we are more the spacious cinema than the dramatic film playing on the screen, something inevitable begins to happen. A natural warmth stirs. A sense of connection, long muffled by the story of me and mine, starts to whisper. It feels less like something we have to create, and more like something we've uncovered. This is the flowering of compassion and loving kindness, not as a spiritual obligation, but as the inherent quality of a heart that is no longer bound in isolation. Tonight, we explore this terrain. Not as a theory of how we should feel toward others, but as a practical exploration of the love that becomes possible when we are present. When we stop fighting the river, we not only find peace for ourselves, we become part of the river's nourishing flow for everything it touches. Let's begin with a simple, physical truth. Place your hand over your heart. Feel the beat. This rhythm has been with you since before you were born. It is the most intimate sound you know. Now, consider this. That heart is not pumping blood for itself. Its entire function is service, to to send oxygen and nutrients out to every distant cell in your body, to fingers and toes you haven't looked at in hours. It works tirelessly for the well-being of the whole, without complaint, without asking for recognition. In a very literal, biological sense, your body is an act of compassion. Your lungs breathe for the blood. Your liver filters for the body. Your immune system stands guard for the collective. You are, by your very nature, a community of trillions of cells cooperating in a silent, miraculous dance of mutual care. The feeling of separation is the mind's story. The body's truth is interdependence. The Buddhist practices of metta, loving kindness, and karuna, compassion, are not about implanting a foreign feeling. They are about removing the obstacles to the love that is already your operating system. It's like scraping frost from a window pane to let the sunlight, which was always there, stream through. The greatest obstacle. It's often our relationship with ourselves. We cannot extend a kindness to the world that we actively deny to the one being who is always with us. So the traditional practice begins with offering these wishes to oneself. And here, we hit a strange resistance. We think self-compassion is weak, self-indulgent. But consider this, if you are hiking with a friend and they twist their ankle, you offer kindness, patience, support. You don't yell at them, you should have been more careful. You're slowing us down. What's wrong with you? Yet, this is precisely how we speak to ourselves when we make a mistake, fall short, or feel pain. We have a double standard, kindness for others, harshness for the self. This isn't noble. It's a critical failure of wisdom. You are the one person you are guaranteed to be with every moment of your life until you die. Why would you choose to make that an abusive relationship? Let me reframe self-compassion with a metaphor from geology. Think of your psyche as a landscape. There are smooth meadows of contentment, rocky cliffs of challenge, and deep lakes of emotion. Now, imagine it begins to rain, the rain of stress, failure, loss. What happens? In a landscape with poor topsoil, compacted, hard, eroded by self-criticism, the water doesn't soak in. It runs off immediately, causing flash floods of anxiety, erosion of confidence, landslides of panic. But in a landscape with rich, soft, absorbent topsoil, cultivated by self-kindness, the same rain soaks in. It nourishes the roots of resilience. It fills the aquifers of inner resource. It might pool in the lakes of sadness for a while, but it is held, contained, and eventually becomes part of the ecosystem's health. Self-compassion isn't about avoiding the rain. It's about creating the inner topsoil that allows you to weather it without catastrophic damage. I saw this principle in action in the most unlikely of places, a corporate boardroom in Seoul, South Korea. I was consulting with a team on stress management. The CEO, a formidable man, spoke of eliminating weakness. During a break, his young assistant, Jun, spilled a tray of coffees. It was a mess. The room froze. The CEO's face darkened. I watched Jun. For a split second, her eyes filled with the familiar panic of self-condemnation. Then, she did something remarkable. She closed her eyes, took one visible, deep breath, and her shoulders dropped. She opened her eyes, looked directly at the CEO, and said calmly, "I apologize for the mess. That was clumsy of me. Let me clean this up and have fresh coffee brought in immediately." There was no cowering, no frantic over-apology. It was clean, professional, and dignified. Later, I asked her about that breath. She said, "My grandmother taught me." She said, "In the moment of mistake, the first person to forgive you must be you. Otherwise, you give your power away to the anger of others. That breath is me forgiving myself first. Then I can handle what comes next." June had rich topsoil. The coffee was the rain. She absorbed the shock herself, so it didn't flood the room with her shame. That is self-compassion as a superpower of emotional regulation. Now, how do we cultivate this topsoil? We practice. A simple metta practice for yourself: sit quietly. Bring to mind a moment you felt safe, peaceful, or content. It could be with a pet, in nature, with a loved one. Feel the physical echo of that feeling for a moment. Then, gently offer these phrases to yourself, like planting seeds in soft earth. May I be safe. May I be healthy. May I be at ease. May I be happy. Don't strain to feel it. Just offer the words. Let them be an intention, a tending of your own inner garden. If resistance arises, "I don't deserve this," just notice that as another weather pattern in the landscape. Don't fight it. Just return gently to the phrases. This is not affirmation. It is cultivation. From this foundation, compassion naturally wishes to flow outward. Here, we must be wise. We often confuse compassion with fusion, taking on another's pain as if it were our own, until we drown with them. This isn't compassion, it's enmeshment. True compassion is grounded in the insight of anatta and the stability of presence. It is the ability to stand firmly on the riverbank, see someone drowning in the current, and extend a pole, without jumping in and becoming another victim who needs rescue. A powerful image for this comes from the world of emergency medicine. They teach first responders the rule of scene safety. The very first step before helping anyone is to ensure the scene is safe for you. A dead or incapacitated rescuer helps no one. Your calm, present, resourced awareness is your primary tool for helping others. If you lose it, you have nothing to give. Compassion must be rooted in your own unshakable scene safety, the stability of your own present moment awareness. Let me tell you a story from the coast of Kerala, India. I was watching fishermen in their long, elegant boats. They used a special net called a Chinese fishing net, a cantilevered system that lowers a large net into the water from the shore. The fisherman doesn't dive into the water with the fish. He stands on the stable, solid pier. He operates the levers and pulleys from there. With patience, he lowers the net into the chaotic, teeming sea. He waits. Then, with great care, he hauls the net up, bringing fish from the world of water into the world of air. He is connected to the struggle of the fish, he is the means of their capture, but he is not in their element. He has a stable base of operation. This is wise compassion. You stand on the stable pier of your own mindful presence. From there, you can lower the net of your caring attention into the chaotic waters of another's suffering. You can bear witness, you can help, but you don't have to drown in their despair. Your stability is what makes your help effective. This balance is what the Buddha called compassion joined with wisdom, karuna prajna. Wisdom sees the reality, this is their pain, arising from their conditions. It is not mine to own. Compassion feels the natural, heartfelt urge to alleviate suffering. Together, they allow you to act skillfully. To listen deeply without needing to fix, to offer help without needing to control the outcome, to set boundaries without closing your heart. We can see this in modern therapeutic models like compassion-focused therapy, CFT. It identifies three primary emotion regulation systems: the threat system, anger, anxiety, disgust; the drive system, excitement, seeking, achieving; and the soothing system, contentment, safety, connection. Many of us, especially in high-pressure lives, are stuck oscillating between threat and drive, running from fears and running toward goals. The soothing system is underdeveloped. Practices like metta are direct training for the soothing system. They activate the physiology of care, releasing oxytocin, calming the amygdala, building the neural pathways for a compassionate presence that can hold both our own pain and the pain of others without tipping into overwhelm. So, let's practice extending this care. After offering metta to yourself, bring to mind a benefactor, someone who has been kind to you, who easily evokes feelings of gratitude. Offer them the phrases: "May you be safe. May you be healthy. May you be at ease. May you be happy." Then, a neutral person, someone you see but don't know well, like a cashier or a neighbor. Offer the phrases. See them as a being who, just like you, wishes to be happy and free from suffering. Then, the difficult one. A difficult person. Start small. Don't pick your arch nemesis. Pick someone who mildly irritates you. Remember, you are not condoning their actions. You are acknowledging their humanity. You are wishing for them to find the peace that would naturally end their harmful behavior. May you be safe. Finally, expand it out. To all beings in your building, your city, your country, the world. To all creatures. May all beings be safe and happy and free. This practice isn't magical thinking. It's neural training. It is consciously directing the lantern of your attention to the truth of our shared wish for well-being. It weakens the mental habit of us versus them and strengthens the felt sense of interconnection. In the next part, we'll take these foundations: presence, understanding the mind, relaxing the self, and cultivating compassion, and bring them into the fiery forge of daily life. We'll explore how to walk through conflict, difficulty, and intense emotion not as a fragile porcelain doll, but as a resilient, compassionate, and fully alive human being. But for now, just rest in the rhythm of your own heart. That pulse is not for you alone. It is the drumbeat of a vast, interconnected life. Each beat whispers, "I am here. You are here. We are here." And in that simple, rhythmic truth, a boundless kindness is already born. Let's continue. We've built a foundation. We've learned to float in the river of experience, to watch the mind's stories without being captured by them, to sense the fluidity of the self, and to feel the natural warmth of a heart unbound. But theory and seated practice are the training ground. Life is the field of play. Now, we must ask, how does this all translate when the river becomes whitewater? When the mind's barking turns into a roar? When the feeling of self feels solid as a brick wall slammed into by conflict, loss, or fear? Tonight, we move from the cushion to the crucible. We explore the art of embodied resilience, how to meet the intense, messy, glorious heat of daily living not with fragile avoidance, but with a presence that is both soft and unbreakable. The first thing to understand is that peace is not the absence of chaos. It is the capacity to be in the midst of chaos without becoming chaotic yourself. Think of the eye of a hurricane. There is tremendous energy swirling around it. Wind, rain, destruction. But at the very center, there is a profound stillness. The stillness doesn't deny the storm. It exists because of the storm's dynamics. Your mindful awareness can be that eye. The swirling thoughts, the emotional gales, the sensory downpour, they can be happening around a center of calm, present attention. You don't have to stop the storm to find peace. You just have to find your way back to the eye. This requires a fundamental shift from being weather-controlled to becoming weather-wise. Most of us are weather-controlled. Our inner climate is dictated by external events. Good news brings sun, bad news brings storms, a critical comment brings a cold front. We are passive, at the mercy of every passing front. To be weather-wise is to know how to read the inner sky, to prepare, to take shelter when needed, and to understand that you are not the storm. You are the whole sky, vast enough to contain it. The storm comes, and the storm passes. The sky remains. I learned this distinction viscerally during a terrifying 24-hour period caught in a typhoon while on a small island in the Philippines. The external storm was undeniable, howling wind, horizontal rain, the world shaking. Panic was a logical response. But in the midst of it, I noticed our local host, an elderly woman named Aling Rosa. She was not panicked. She was intensely present. She moved calmly, securing shutters, placing buckets, humming softly. She wasn't denying the danger. She was utterly engaged with it, moment by moment. You cannot stop the wind, she told me, her hand on my arm. But you can learn where to stand so it does not take you. Then she said something I'll never forget, the fear is just more weather. Feel it, but do not build your house in it. While I was lost in the story of potential doom, building a house in the fear. She was simply responding to the next necessary action from a place of grounded awareness. She was in the eye of her own being, even as the world raged. How do we find this eye when our personal typhoons hit? We use the body. The mind spins stories about the future, but the body only knows the present. Anxiety is a story in the mind about the future, but it manifests as a sensation in the body right now, tight chest, shallow breath, clenched jaw. By dropping our attention from the spinning story to the present tense sensation, we immediately step out of the hurricane's path and into the eye. Here's a practical, immediate tool, STOP. Stop. Just pause. Whatever you're doing. Freeze frame. T. Take a breath. Don't change it. Just feel one full inhalation and exhalation. O. Observe. What is happening in my body right now? Scan from head to toe. Tightness. Heat. Trembling. Just name it. Clenched jaw. Knotted stomach. P. Proceed. Now, with this fuller information, choose your next action. It might be to take another breath. It might be to speak. It might be to walk away. But now you are responding from the eye of awareness, not reacting from the storm of emotion. This takes practice. We are wired to react. Reaction is fast, ancient, and often unhelpfully blunt. Response is slower, wiser, and precise. The space between stimulus and response is where our freedom grows. The STOP. Practice cultivates that space. Now, let's talk about one of the most common and intense storms, anger. We often see anger as a failure of spirituality. I shouldn't be angry. But anger, like fear, is a natural, biological signal. It tells us a boundary has been crossed, a value has been violated. The problem isn't anger. The problem is unmindful anger, the kind that hijacks the whole system and leads to words or actions we regret. Mindful anger is a clean, hot signal that we can feel fully without letting it control us. Imagine anger as a smoke alarm. When a smoke alarm goes off, you don't rip it from the ceiling and throw it out the window. You also don't ignore it. You acknowledge the signal, there's smoke. Then you investigate the source with calm urgency. Is it burnt toast? Or is the house on fire? The alarm itself is just data. Your mindful anger is the same. The heat in your face, the pounding heart. That's the alarm. Instead of either exploding, throwing the alarm, or suppressing it, ignoring the alarm, you pause. You feel the alarm fully. Then you investigate, what boundary was crossed? What do I truly value here? What is the wisest action to protect it? This allows anger to be a teacher and a protector, not a tyrant. A powerful story on transforming relationships with difficulty comes from the world of kintsugi, the Japanese art of repairing broken pottery with lacquer mixed with gold, silver, or platinum. The breakage is not hidden. It is illuminated. The repaired piece is considered more beautiful, more valuable for having been broken. Your life is a kintsugi masterpiece. Every loss, every failure, every heartbreak is a crack. The practice of mindful presence is the gold lacquer. You are not trying to hide the cracks or pretend the break never happened. You are learning to mend them with the gold of your own aware, compassionate attention. The scars become the most beautiful part of the design, not because the breaking was good, but because your mindful repair made the whole vessel stronger and more radiant. The next time you feel broken, can you ask not, how do I hide this? But, how do I mend this with the gold of my own gentle, present care? This principle applies directly to pain, physical or emotional. Our instinct is to tense against pain, to create a wall of resistance. But tension magnifies pain. It's like clenching your fist around a thorn. The clenching drives the thorn deeper. Mindfulness invites us to try the counterintuitive move, to soften around the pain. To bring curious, gentle attention to the exact sensation. Where is its edge? Does it throb or burn? Is it constant or moving? This doesn't magically erase the pain, but it often reduces the suffering, the layer of fear and resistance we add to it. You are opening your hand, even with the thorn in it, which is the first step to removing it with less damage. We find support for this in modern pain neuroscience. The brain doesn't just passively receive pain signals, it actively constructs the experience of pain based on context, attention, and emotion. Studies show that mindful attention to chronic pain can change the brain's relationship to it, reducing the perceived intensity. You're not thinking positive. You're changing the very neurology of perception by bringing objective, non-judgmental awareness to the subjective experience. Ultimately, embodied resilience is about becoming anti-fragile. A concept from thinker Nassim Taleb, anti-fragility describes systems that gain from disorder, stress, and volatility. A porcelain cup is fragile. It breaks under stress. A plastic cup is robust, it withstands stress unchanged. But a muscle is anti-fragile, it requires stress to break down its fibers so it can rebuild stronger. Your nervous system, your heart, your capacity for compassion can all be anti-fragile. The storms of life are not just to be endured. They are the stressors that, met with mindful presence, can help you rebuild wiser, kinder, and more at peace than before. The goal is not to become an unbreakable plastic cup, inert and unchanged. The goal is to become the living muscle, growing stronger through the intelligent engagement with life's necessary stresses. In the next part, we'll look at how to weave all of this into the very fabric of our days, into work, into relationships, into the mundane moments that make up a life. We'll explore the art of sacred ordinariness. But for now, feel your body in this moment. Whatever weather is passing through your inner sky, calm, stormy, or partly cloudy, know that you are the sky. Vast, open, and inherently undisturbed by the changing conditions. You can feel the rain without becoming the rain. You can hear the wind without being blown away. Rest in this knowing. Let's continue. We've navigated the inner storms, learned to find the eye of the hurricane within. But life isn't lived only in moments of high drama or quiet meditation. It's lived in the spaces between. In the commute, the line at the store, the stack of dishes, the routine work task. This is the great testing ground, the forge where mindfulness is either integrated or remains a pleasant theory. Tonight, we explore the art of sacred ordinariness. How to inhabit the mundane moments of your life not as interruptions on the path to somewhere else, but as the very path itself. The central obstacle here is what we might call destination disease. It's the pervasive belief that peace, happiness, or fulfillment exist at a future point, when I finish this project. When I get that promotion. When I find the right partner. When I retire. We treat the present moment as a corridor we must hurry through to reach the room called real life. But what if the corridor is the room? What if the waiting is the destination? The Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh said, "The miracle is not to walk on water. The miracle is to walk on the green earth in the present moment." The most profound shift you can make is to stop looking for sacredness in special places, times, or states, and to start recognizing it in the texture of your ordinary, unremarkable now. Consider your breath. You take about 25,000 breaths a day, almost entirely unnoticed. It is the most intimate, constant rhythm of your life, and you ignore it. What else are you ignoring with the same nonchalance? The feeling of water on your hands while washing them? The play of light through a window? The complex miracle of a functioning body that allows you to stand, walk, reach for a cup. We are surrounded by miracles, and we call them boring. To counter this, I want to introduce the concept of micro-sanctuaries. A sanctuary is a sacred, protected space. You don't need to go to a temple or a mountaintop. You can create a micro-sanctuary in any single, present moment experience. The duration is one conscious breath, one sensory impression, one complete action. Here's how to practice. Choose a routine, mundane activity. Making your morning coffee. Brushing your teeth. Tying your shoes. For the duration of that activity, your only task is to be completely present with the sensory reality of it. Making coffee, feel the weight of the kettle. Listen to the specific sound of water filling it, a hollow sound becoming solid. Watch the play of steam. Smell the grounds, not just coffee, but the earthy, bitter, rich notes. Hear the percussive drip into the carafe. Feel the warmth of the mug in your palm. Brushing teeth, feel the bristles against your gums. Not just a generic scrub, but a precise mapping of sensation. Taste the mint, cool and sharp. Hear the sound, close and intimate. Feel the clean, slick sensation after rinsing. You are not just making coffee or brushing teeth. You are performing a ritual of presence. You are consecrating the ordinary. In that focused attention, time slows. The mundane becomes vivid, interesting, even beautiful. You are no longer hurrying through a corridor. You have arrived in a sanctuary. I learned the power of this not in an ashram, but in a factory in Germany. I was visiting a friend who was a quality control engineer for a high-precision optics company. He showed me a worker, an older woman named Frau Schneider, whose job was to inspect tiny lenses for microscopic flaws. She did this for 8 hours a day. I expected to see boredom, fatigue. Instead, I saw a kind of serene focus. She moved with unhurried precision. My friend whispered, "Watch her. She is the best we have. She sees what the machines miss." Later, I asked her about the work. She said, "Each lens is a world. A tiny, perfect universe of curvature and light. My job is not to find flaws. My job is to meet each world, to give it my full attention, and to see if it is complete. When I do that, there is no boredom. There is only meeting." Frau Schneider had turned a repetitive industrial task into a practice of profound presence. Each lens was a micro-sanctuary. She wasn't working on an assembly line. She was taking a pilgrimage through thousands of tiny, glass worlds. This is the essence of mindful work. Whether you are writing code, caring for patients, teaching children, or building cabinets, the principle is the same. The task at hand becomes the object of your meditation. The challenges become not distractions from peace, but the very material through which peace is expressed, as patience, clarity, and care. The frustrating colleague, the difficult problem, the tedious detail. These are not obstacles on your spiritual path. They are your spiritual path, perfectly designed for your growth. This shifts our relationship with boredom and restlessness. We usually see these as signals to seek stimulation, to check our phones, to flee the present moment. But what if boredom is not an enemy, but a teacher? It is the mind, stripped of its usual entertainment, begging for distraction. It is the perfect opportunity to practice staying. To feel the restlessness in the body as pure energy. To listen to the silence it so desperately wants to fill. In that staying, you discover that boredom is simply a layer of mental resistance over a deep, quiet field of being that is never bored. It is always simply present. Let's bring in a scientific perspective, the concept of flow, coined by psychologist Mihai Csikszentmihalyi. Flow is a state of complete absorption in an activity, where time seems to disappear, and self-consciousness falls away. It's often described as the pinnacle of engagement. The conditions for flow: a clear goal, immediate feedback, and a challenge that slightly stretches your skills. But notice, flow requires present moment attention. You cannot be in flow while ruminating about the past or worrying about the future. In this way, mindful work and flow are close cousins. Mindfulness is the cultivated ability to bring a flow-like quality of presence to any activity, even those that aren't inherently challenging. You are training the muscle of attention that makes flow states more accessible, and you are finding fulfillment in the process itself, not just the outcome. Now, let's extend this to our most important, and often most challenging, arena of ordinary life: relationships. We often treat interactions as transactions or as opportunities to perform, to be seen a certain way. Mindful communication is different. It is about creating a shared micro-sanctuary with another person. The practice is deceptively simple: listen as if it were a meditation. The next time someone speaks to you, let this be your sole task: to receive their words. Don't formulate your reply while they talk. Don't judge or categorize what they're saying. Just listen. Be present with the sound of their voice, the expression on their face, the intention behind their words. Your full, quiet attention is the greatest gift you can offer. It creates a space where real meeting can happen. You'll be amazed at how conflicts soften, how understanding deepens, not because you said the right thing, but because you truly showed up. I was taught this lesson with humbling clarity by my young niece when she was learning to read. She would slowly, painstakingly sound out words, her little finger tracing each letter. My adult mind would race ahead, wanting to supply the word, to move the story along. One day, frustrated with my interruptions, she put her hand on mine and said, "Uncle, wait. You're not letting me find my way." I was stunned. In my hurry to reach the destination of a finished sentence, I was robbing her of the sacred, ordinary process of discovery. I was missing the present moment miracle of a mind learning to decode the world. From then on, I practiced just sitting with her, listening to each halting sound, being present with her struggle and her triumph. It became one of the most peaceful, connected experiences of my life. The destination was forgotten. The corridor, the sound of her voice, the light in her eyes as she recognized a word, became a cathedral. Finally, we must address the elephant in the room of modern life. Digital distraction. Our devices are engineered to shatter our attention, to keep us in a state of continuous partial presence. This is the antithesis of sacred ordinariness. We must become intentional architects of our attention. Create digital micro-sanctuaries. This could be the first and last 30 minutes of the day, device-free. Meals as screen-free rituals of nourishment and connection. A phone parking spot outside the bedroom. One day a month, or even an afternoon a week, as a digital Sabbath. In these spaces, you reclaim your attention. You allow your mind to be bored, to wander, to settle. You remember what it feels like to be uninterruptedly present with a task, a person, or your own thoughts. This isn't anti-technology, it's pro-presence. It's choosing to use your tools, not to let them use you. In the next part, we'll look at the larger arc. How these practices of presence shape not just a moment or a day, but a life. We'll explore the concepts of purpose, legacy, and how to live in a way that aligns with the deepest truths we've been uncovering. But for now, I invite you to a practice. In the next hour, choose one mundane activity. It could be walking to your car, sorting mail, or petting your dog. For the full duration of that activity, let it be your whole universe. Meet it with the curiosity of Frau Schneider meeting a lens. Let it be a micro-sanctuary. In that simple, complete attention, you will find that the sacred was never missing. It was hiding in plain sight, waiting for you to stop and see. Let's continue. We've learned to find the sanctuary in the ordinary, the eye within the storm. We've practiced bringing presence to our work, our chores, our conversations. But life isn't just a series of moments strung together randomly. We are meaning-making creatures. We look for an arc, a purpose, a direction. We ask the big questions: what is my life for? What will I leave behind? Does any of this matter? Tonight, we bring the light of mindfulness to these very questions. Not to find abstract philosophical answers, but to discover how a life rooted in presence naturally generates meaning, purpose, and a legacy of peace. We move from the microsanity of the present moment to the macro view of a life well lived. The first, and perhaps most liberating, insight is this: purpose is not found. It is built. We often imagine purpose as a pre-existing, hidden treasure we must discover. We search for our true calling, as if it's a lost key that will unlock a magical door to a meaningful life. This search can become a tremendous source of anxiety, another form of destination disease, where we believe real life begins after we find the key. But what if purpose isn't a noun, but a verb? Not a thing you have, but a way you are. From the perspective of presence, purpose is the quality of attention you bring to whatever is in front of you. The purpose of a lighthouse is not to travel the world, it is to shine steadily where it stands. Your purpose, in any given moment, is to be fully, compassionately, wisely present, to be a lighthouse of awareness for your own experience and, by extension, for the world you touch. A monk once told me a story about two stonecutters in medieval France. A traveler came upon them and asked, "What are you doing?" The first stonecutter, looking miserable, grumbled, "I am cutting this damned rock into blocks. It's back-breaking work." The traveler asked the second stonecutter the same question. This man, though sweaty and covered in dust, had a look of serene focus. He paused, looked at the stone in his hands, and said, "I am building a cathedral." Both were doing the exact same physical action. But one was lost in the unpleasant sensation of the moment, while the other was imbuing his action with a larger context of meaning. He wasn't just cutting rock, he was participating in the creation of something sacred. He had connected his micro-sanctuary, the strike of chisel on stone, to a macro-sanctuary, the soaring cathedral of his imagination and intention. You are always building your cathedral. The question is, are you aware of the design? The cathedral is the sum total of your moments of presence, your acts of kindness, your breaths of patience, your words of truth. You don't need to know the final blueprint. You simply need to bring care and awareness to the stone you are cutting right now. That mindful cut is the cathedral being built. This brings us to the concept of karma, not as fate, but as conscious architecture. Every thought, word, and action is a brick laid in the structure of your life and your world. Mindful presence is the quality control. A reaction laid in anger is a cracked, unstable brick. A response laid in awareness is a solid, true one. You are the architect and mason of your inner and outer world, moment by moment. Purpose is the intention behind each brick you lay. Is it laid with care, with compassion, with honesty? If so, you are building a beautiful cathedral, regardless of its outward name or form. I saw this principle embodied in a small, unassuming barbershop in the American Midwest. The barber, Joe, was in his 80s and had been cutting hair in the same shop for 60 years. For him, it wasn't a job, it was a vocation of connection. He knew his customers' lives, their joys, their losses, their grandchildren. He listened. He offered a steady, gentle presence. He took pride in a clean haircut, but more so in the atmosphere of dignity and peace in his two-chair shop. He had no grand title, no vast wealth, no fame. But in that town, he was a pillar. He had built a cathedral of community, one haircut, one conversation, one moment of undivided attention at a time. His purpose wasn't something he found, it was something he built, daily, with shears and a comb and an open heart. That is a legacy. Now, we must confront a deep fear that often lurks beneath our search for purpose, the fear of insignificance. In the face of cosmic vastness and the march of time, what does my little life matter? This is where the insight of interdependence becomes our solace. Think of the mycorrhizal network in a forest, the vast, underground web of fungal threads that connects trees, allowing them to share nutrients, water, and even warnings about threats. A towering oak and a tiny sapling are in constant, silent communication. The giant tree supports the young one. The young tree, in ways we are just learning, may also support the old. Your life is a node in an infinite mycorrhizal network of beings. Every act of presence, every moment of kindness, sends a ripple through that web. You cannot see where it ends. The smile you give a stranger may change the course of their day, which changes their interaction with their child, which shapes that child's heart. The effects are incalculable. You are not a solitary pebble dropped in a pond. You are the pond itself, and every movement within you changes the whole. Your significance is not in the size of your splash, but in your very existence as part of the interconnected water. This understanding transforms our relationship with aging and impermanence. We fear aging because we identify with the body aggregate, which is visibly changing and declining. We fear death as the ultimate erasure of our separate self. But from the vantage point of the awareness that witnesses the aggregates, a different view emerges. You are not the withering leaf, you are the sap that flowed through it, returning to the tree to nourish new leaves. Your legacy is not in monuments that will eventually crumble, but in the quality of consciousness you cultivated, the peace, the kindness, the clarity. That consciousness is not yours. It is a flavor of universal awareness that you temporarily embodied and, through practice, clarified. At death, the individual vortex in the river dissolves, but the water remains. You return your borrowed awareness to the source, perhaps leaving it a little clearer, a little warmer, for having passed through you. A powerful, personal story comes from my own grandfather's final days. He was a quiet, simple man, a gardener. In his last week, he was mostly silent, often just looking out the window at a birch tree in the yard. One afternoon, he took my hand. His voice was weak. He said, "You see that tree? I've watched it for 40 years. Every autumn, it lets go perfectly. Not a single leaf clings. It knows it's not the leaves. It's the tree." He patted my hand. "Don't cling to the leaves, boy. Just be the tree." In that moment, he wasn't a dying man. He was a wise old tree himself, teaching me about the essence that remains when the seasonal aggregates fall away. His legacy to me wasn't property or money, it was that single, perfect teaching offered from the threshold of his own letting go. So, how do we live this? We practice living as legacy. At the end of each day, instead of asking, "What did I achieve?" ask, "How did I inhabit my moments?" Review the day not for productivity, but for presence. When was I the lighthouse? When did I cut the stone with the cathedral in mind? When did I listen as if it were a meditation? When did I offer a nutrient through the network of kindness? This is the true measure of a day. We also practice beginner's mind with our own life arc. We release the heavy story of who we are supposed to be by now. We meet each chapter, the ambitions of youth, the responsibilities of middle age, the letting go of later years, with the fresh, curious attention we bring to a micro-sanctuary. Each phase has its own texture, its own lessons in presence. The purpose of the caterpillar is to be a perfect caterpillar. The purpose of the chrysalis is to dissolve in darkness. The purpose of the butterfly is to fly. Don't judge one phase by the standards of another. Just be fully what you are, now. In the next part, we'll gather all these threads: presence, compassion, resilience, sacred ordinariness, and purposeful living, and weave them into a sustainable, daily practice. We'll create a simple, flexible framework for a life rooted in peace, not as an occasional experience, but as an abiding home. But for tonight, reflect on the cathedral you are building with this single day. Each mindful breath is a stone laid in its foundation. Each act of patience is a buttress. Each moment of open-hearted listening is a stained glass window, letting in more light. You are the architect, the mason, and the sanctuary all at once. And in this very moment, the building is already holy, simply because you are here, awake, and building with care. Let's continue. We've traveled from the nature of the mind to the expanse of a life's purpose. We have many tools, many insights. But without a framework, these can remain beautiful fragments. How do we bring this all together into a sustainable daily life? Not as a rigid discipline that becomes another burden, but as a gentle, flexible rhythm that supports our innate peace. Tonight, we build that framework. We move from practice to praxis, the embodiment of wisdom in the ordinary patterns of living. This is about creating a life that doesn't just include mindfulness, but is structured around mindfulness, as a tree is structured around its hidden, strengthening rings. First, we must address a common pitfall: spiritual compartmentalization. This is when we have our spiritual practice, 20 minutes on the cushion, a yoga class, and then our real life, where the old habits of reactivity, anxiety, and distraction reign supreme. The bridge between the two seems to collapse the moment we stand up. The goal is to dissolve this compartment. To let mindfulness be the medium in which life happens, not a separate activity. Think of your day not as a line segment with meditation at one point and work at another. Instead, think of it as a wheel. At the hub of the wheel is your still, silent center, the aware presence you touch in deep meditation. The spokes are the various activities of your life: work, relationships, chores, leisure. The rim is the external world where these activities meet. A healthy wheel spins smoothly when the hub is strong and stable, and the spokes are firmly connected to it. Your practice is to keep returning to the hub, the still center, so that every spoke of your activity is infused with its stability and peace. You don't leave the hub to go to work, you bring the hub's stability with you into work. To cultivate this, we establish rhythms of return. These are simple, non-negotiable pauses woven into the fabric of your day that serve one purpose: to reconnect you with the hub. They are not long retreats. They are moment-long homecomings. First, the threshold pause. Practice pausing both physically and mentally at every threshold you cross. Before you walk through a doorway from one room to another, just stop. Take one single conscious breath. Feel your feet making solid contact with the ground. Then proceed. Do this before you start your car, before you open your laptop, before you pick up your phone to make a call. This simple habit installs tiny moments of conscious choice into autopilot behavior. It reminds you that you are the aware one moving through your day, not just a bundle of automatic reactions. Second, the task transition pause. Between activities, instead of rushing headlong from one to the next, institute a 3-breath reset. Finish an email. Sit back and take 3 breaths. Hang up from a call. 3 breaths. Put down one tool and pick up another. 3 breaths. This clears the mental palette. It prevents the psychic residue of one task from contaminating the next. It allows each new action to begin fresh from your calm center. Third, the gratitude pause. This is not a list-making exercise but a sensory one. Twice a day, perhaps at lunch and just before sleep, pause for 60 seconds. Ask yourself this question: what is one thing my senses are giving me right now that I usually ignore? It might be the play of light on the wall, the hum of the refrigerator, the feeling of air moving in and out of your nostrils, the supportive pressure of the chair. Don't think about it. Just feel it. This practice directly counteracts the mind's built-in negativity bias by actively recruiting your attention to the nourishing, ever-present facts of simply being alive. I learned the power of such rhythms from a sea captain I met in Newfoundland. He commanded a large icebreaker vessel. He told me his most important job wasn't steering through open water, but managing the constant, thunderous vibration of the ship as it smashed through ice floes. If you let that vibration into your bones all the time, he said, you go mad. You get exhausted. He showed me his practice. Every hour, on the hour, no matter what, he would go to a specific spot on the bridge, a spot isolated from the worst vibration by the ship's design. He'd stand there for 1 minute, in complete silence, eyes closed, feeling only the deep, slow roll of the ocean beneath the hull. That 1 minute, he said, resets my whole system. I remember what's beneath the noise. Then I can go back to the noise without being consumed by it. Your rhythms of return are those 1-minute journeys to the quiet spot on the bridge of your own being. Now, let's structure the day around 3 core pillars, aligned with the natural arc of energy. Pillar 1, morning, intention, the setting of the compass. The first minutes upon waking are incredibly potent. The mind is soft, impressionable. Instead of grabbing your phone and importing the world's anxiety, use this time to set your inner compass. This isn't about positive affirmations. It's about direction setting. Upon waking, before you move, feel the body in bed. 3 conscious breaths. As you get up, ask, what quality do I wish to nurture today? 1 word. Patience. Curiosity. Kindness. Courage. Softness. Let that word be your touchstone. You don't have to achieve it. It is the direction you will face. When you lose your way, the word is there to reorient you. Pillar 2, day, engagement, the mindful spoke. This is where the rhythms of return do their work. Your primary practice during active hours is single-tasking. The myth of multitasking is the enemy of presence. Neuroscience confirms that what we call multitasking is actually rapid, exhausting task switching, which increases errors and stress. Commit to doing one thing at a time with full attention. If you are writing an email, just write the email. If you are listening, just listen. If you are eating, just eat. When you catch yourself fragmenting, gently say, one thing at a time. Return to the hub through a task transition pause. Pillar 3, evening, integration, the gathering of the day. The evening is for processing and release, not for importing more stimulation. Create a digital sunset, an hour before bed where screens are shut down. Practice a simple body scan meditation as you lie in bed. Spend 5 to 10 minutes moving your attention from the crown of your head to the tips of your toes, just noticing sensations without judgment. This draws awareness out of the thinking mind and back into the present tense body, preparing it for rest. Then, practice a version of the gratitude pause, but focused on the day. Not listing successes, but acknowledging experiences. Today, I felt the sun on my face. Today, I heard a child laugh. Today, I completed a difficult task. Today, I was tired. Acknowledge it all without story, and then let it go. You are clearing the desk of the mind before closing the shop for the night. This framework is minimalist. It's not about adding more to your to-do list. It's about changing the quality of attention within the list you already have. The intention morning, the engaged day, the integrated evening, this cycle, repeated, builds the stabilizing rings of the tree of your life. Finally, we must make room for the essential, rest and play. A mindful life is not a somber one. It includes deliberate, guilt-free rest, true rest, not collapsed exhaustion. It also includes play, activities done for pure enjoyment, with no goal other than the engagement itself. Play is presence in its most joyful form. Schedule time for what genuinely replenishes you, whether it's walking in nature, tinkering, making art, or laughing with friends. Protect this time as sacred. It is not a distraction from practice, it is the practice of nourishing the hub so the spokes remain strong. In the next part, we will face what happens when this will inevitably hits rough terrain, when we fall off the rhythms, when old patterns reassert themselves with a vengeance. We'll explore the art of gentle perseverance, of beginning again, which is the heart of the path. But for now, feel the potential of this simple structure. You are not trying to build a new life from scratch. You are learning to inhabit the life you already have with more presence, one conscious threshold, one single task, one grateful pause at a time. The wheel is already turning. You are just learning to feel the perfect, still point at its center. Let's continue. We have a map. We have a framework. We have rhythms and intentions. But here is the truth no one tells you at the beginning of the journey: you will forget. You will fall off the wheel. The compass will slip from your hands in a storm of emotion. The mindful pauses will be drowned out by the day's demands. You will find yourself, once again, lost in the old stories, reacting from the old places, carrying suitcases you swore you'd put down. This is not failure. This is the terrain. Tonight, we explore the most crucial skill on this path, the art of beginning again. This is not about grim determination or self-scolding. It is about cultivating a gentle, instant forgiveness for your own humanity, and a curiosity that is always willing to take the next step from exactly where you stand. First, let's dismantle the myth of linear progress. We imagine spiritual growth as a steady ascent up a mountain. Each day we climb a little higher, leaving our weaknesses further below. Then, when we have a bad day, a day of anger, anxiety, forgetfulness, we feel we've tumbled all the way back down to base camp. This view is demoralizing and false. A more accurate metaphor is the spiral path. You are not climbing a straight line. You are circling a mountain. From above, each loop looks similar. You pass the same landmarks, the forest of fear, the meadow of contentment, the rocky cliffs of doubt. But each time you pass them, you are at a slightly higher altitude. You have a broader view. You recognize the terrain more quickly. You move through it with a little more grace, a little less panic. The fall is just a loop on the spiral, bringing you back to a familiar challenge, but with new eyes. The practice is to keep circling, not to avoid the difficult landmarks, but to learn their contours. The moment of forgetting, then, is not a disaster. It is the most important moment of your practice. It is the signal that says, "Ah, here is the learning edge." The key is what happens next. The untrained mind adds a second layer of suffering, guilt, shame, a story of failure. I've been doing this for months and I still lost my temper. I'm hopeless. This is the real derailment, not the initial loss of presence, but the war you declare on yourself for having lost it. The alternative is compassionate noticing. In that moment when you realize you've been shouting, or worrying for an hour, or scrolling mindlessly, you have a golden opportunity. Instead of, "I failed," the internal gesture is, "Ah, there I went. Interesting." It is the gentle, non-judgmental observation of a naturalist spotting a familiar bird. Ah, the anxious mind is here. Ah, the old story of not being enough has returned. This pause of noticing is the pivot point. It is you, re-inhabiting the hub of the wheel. From that stable center, you can simply choose the next thing. The next conscious breath. The next kind word. The next tiny step back into intention. I learned the profound power of this from a master potter in Kyoto. I was attempting to make a simple bowl on the wheel. Again and again, my clumsy hands would collapse the form. Frustration mounted. I'd grit my teeth, scoop the ruined clay into a ball, and slam it back onto the wheel, trying to force it into submission. The master watched silently. Finally, he placed his hand over mine, stopping me. He took the mangled lump of clay. "You see only failure," he said softly. "But the clay has no memory." He began to knead it slowly, not with force, but with a patient, rhythmic pressing. You must center the clay each time. Not because it is bad, but because it has been moved. Each collapse is an invitation to return to the center. The clay is always willing to begin again. The question is, are you? He then placed the re-centered clay back on the wheel. Now, begin again. Gently. My frustration hadn't helped the clay. It had only made my hands rigid. His gentle recentering allowed a beautiful bowl to emerge on the very next try. Our minds are that clay. Each collapse is not a verdict. It is an invitation to gently, patiently, recenter. The mind, like the clay, has no memory of its past failures unless you force that story upon it. This is where we integrate the practice of self-forgiveness as a practical tool, not an abstract ideal. Self-forgiveness is the act of recentering the clay. It is the conscious release of the narrative of failure so you can engage with the fresh possibilities of the present moment. A simple phrase to use in the moment of noticing you've gone astray, even this. Breathe in, even this moment of forgetfulness. Breathe out, is included in my practice. It all belongs. The forgetting, the remembering, the frustration, the gentle return. It is all part of the spiral path. Now, let's prepare for the specific challenges, the avalanche scenarios. These are the days when everything seems to go wrong, when stress compounds, and the idea of a mindful pause feels laughable. For these, we need a pre-installed emergency protocol. A simple, memorized sequence you can run even when you feel you have no resources left. Step 1. Ground. Take about 10 seconds. Plant your feet firmly on the floor. Press down through your heels and through the balls of your feet. Feel the sense of solid, supportive earth beneath you. Internally, say the word ground. Step 2. Anchor. Take about 5 seconds. Bring one hand to your belly or to your heart. Feel the warmth there, the subtle rise and fall with your breath. Internally, say the word anchor. Step 3. Expand. Take about 5 seconds. Soften your gaze. Widen your peripheral vision. Take in the whole room, the entire space, the quality of light, without focusing on any single thing. Internally, say the word expand. Step 4. Proceed. From this new state of feeling more grounded, anchored, and expanded, ask yourself this question: what is the one next, smallest, physical action required? You are not trying to solve the whole problem right now. It could be picking up a pen, taking a sip of water, opening a door. Identify that one tiny action, and then do it with your full attention. This protocol bypasses the overwhelmed thinking mind and uses the body to recruit a state of greater presence. It's your psychological fire escape. We must also talk about community, your sangha. The spiral path can feel lonely. We compare our messy inner loops to others' seemingly perfect exteriors and feel even more isolated. A sangha, whether in person or virtual, is a group of fellow travelers. It is the mirror that reflects back your humanity. In sharing your struggles, you hear others say, "Me too." This "me too" is a powerful antidote to shame. It reminds you that forgetfulness is part of the human condition, not your personal flaw. Your sangha is the group of people who will gently remind you, the clay has no memory. Begin again. Protect and nurture these connections. They are the guardrails on the spiral path. Finally, we cultivate aspiration over expectation. Expectation is rigid. It says, "I should be peaceful by now." When reality doesn't match, it causes suffering. Aspiration is fluid, directional. It says, "May I move toward peace." It plants a seed and tends it with patience, knowing growth has its own seasons. At the end of each day, rather than measuring yourself against a rigid standard, connect with a gentle aspiration: "May I understand more tomorrow. May I be a little kinder. May I remember to begin again. This orientation nurtures perseverance without brutality. In our final part, we will bring everything full circle. We will sit in the profound simplicity of what is, right now. We will integrate the journey and look to the path ahead, not as a seeker, but as one who has come home to the endless adventure of the present moment. But for now, if you have forgotten everything from these hours together, remember just this one thing: the permission to begin again is always available. It is not in the next moment, after you've beaten yourself up. It is in this breath, this sensation, this noticing that you have wandered. In that noticing, you are already back. The compass is in your hand. The center of the wheel is right here. Begin again. Let's continue. We have walked the spiral path, learned to begin again, and built frameworks for a resilient life. Now, we arrive at a critical crossroads, the place where our inner practice meets the outer world. We must ask, how does a mindful heart engage with a world that often seems fragmented, unjust, and fueled by fear? Is peace a private retreat, or does it have a public face? Tonight, we explore engaged presence, the natural expression of inner peace as compassionate action in the world. This is not about adding activism to your to-do list. It is about allowing the clarity and care cultivated in stillness to inform how you move, speak, and work within your sphere of influence. It is understanding that your most powerful tool for change is the quality of consciousness you bring to any situation. First, we must dissolve a false dichotomy, the sacred versus the worldly. We sometimes imagine that spiritual life happens in quiet corners, away from the messy, difficult realities of society. This is a subtle form of spiritual bypassing, using practice to avoid the painful complexities of human existence. True presence doesn't shy away from the world. It meets the world with clear eyes and an open heart. The Bodhisattva ideal in Mahayana Buddhism is the embodiment of this, one who cultivates wisdom for the sake of all beings, vowing to help until everyone is free. Your engagement might not look like a bodhisattva's, but the principle is the same: your peace is not for you alone. It is a resource, a kind of inner infrastructure, that allows you to be a more effective, less reactive, and genuinely helpful presence wherever you are. Consider the metaphor of clear water. When a pond is stirred up, muddy and turbulent, it reflects nothing clearly. It cannot sustain healthy life. When it settles and becomes clear, it can perfectly reflect the sky, support ecosystems, and quench thirst. Your mind is that pond. The practices we've explored are the process of letting the sediment settle. Engaged presence is what you do with the clear water. You can now see reality more accurately, reflecting the sky. You can nourish others through your clarity and calm, supporting ecosystems. You can offer a drink of compassionate understanding to those who are thirsty. The work in the world begins with the clarity of your own mind. This leads to a pivotal concept: right action, born from right view. Right view, as we've discussed, is seeing things as they are, without the filters of craving and aversion. From this clear seeing, action arises naturally that is appropriate, skillful, and causes the least harm. It is not action based on ideology, guilt, or reaction, but on a moment-to-moment discernment of what is actually needed. Sometimes right action is speaking up. Sometimes it is silent listening. Sometimes it is setting a boundary. Sometimes it is offering help. You cannot know from a rulebook, you can only know from a mind that is present, clear, and connected to the heart. I witnessed this principle in action in a community mediation center in South Africa, in the fragile years after apartheid. Facilitators were training people from deeply divided communities to hold dialogues. They didn't teach political theory. They taught deep listening and mindful speech. They had participants sit together and simply share, one at a time, without interruption, answering, "What is one fear you carry?" and "What is one hope you hold for your children?" The practice was to listen, not to argue, but to understand the human being behind the label. From that place of shared, vulnerable presence, that clear water, solutions emerged that political negotiations alone could never have reached. Practical agreements about water rights, school safety, and shared markets were forged not from winning debates, but from the recognition of mutual humanity. That is engaged presence on a community scale. Creating the container of mindful attention where something new and healing can arise. So, how do we practice this in our daily spheres? We start with conscious communication. This is an extension of the mindful listening we've practiced, but with an added layer of intention. Before speaking, especially in difficult conversations, practice the triple pause. First, pause to check your intention. Ask yourself, why am I about to say this? Is it to be right? To control the situation? To vent my frustration? Or is it to genuinely understand, to create connection, or to contribute something that is both true and useful? Second, pause to feel the body. Ask, what physical sensations are present right now? Is there tightness? Heat? A flutter? This bodily data is direct information about your own emotional state in this moment. Third, pause to imagine reception. Ask, how might these words I'm about to speak land in the heart of the listener? Take a brief moment to consider their perspective, their feelings, and the potential impact of your words. This three-part pause, which takes mere seconds, can transform communication from a volatile exchange of projectiles into a collaborative exploration. Next, we practice conscious consumption. Engagement isn't just about what you put out, it's about what you take in. This includes information, food, media, and goods. Mindful consumption asks, does this nourish or deplete my clarity and compassion? Does its production cause harm? This isn't about perfection or purity, it's about increasing intentionality. Choosing to step away from a toxic news cycle to protect your inner peace is an act of engaged presence. It preserves your capacity to be helpful. Choosing to buy from a local farmer supports a web of right livelihood. Each conscious choice is a vote for the world you wish to inhabit. Finally, we embrace the idea of noble silence in action. There are times when the most powerful engagement is not adding more noise, more opinion, more commentary, more reaction, but instead, holding a steady, compassionate silence. This is the silence that listens deeply to someone in pain. The silence that refuses to gossip. The silence that surrounds a mindful protest, where the presence of bodies speaks louder than shouts. This silence is not passive. It is a potent, focused energy of awareness. It creates space for truth to emerge. In the next part, we'll look at a topic that touches every life: relationships, the intimate, challenging, and beautiful mirrors that show us where our practice is real and where we still cling. We'll explore how presence transforms our connections with others. But for now, reflect on your own sphere, your home, your work, your social circles. You are a center of influence. Your clear water changes the ecology of every pond you touch. Your practice is not a retreat from the world. It is the quiet, steady process of becoming the kind of person the world needs, one who is not easily stirred into mud, who reflects clarity, and from whom others can drink deeply of peace. Let's continue. We've brought our presence into the wider world. Now, we turn to the most intimate frontier of our practice, our relationships. Here, in the dance of connection with partners, family, friends, and even difficult people, the teachings meet their most fiery test. Relationships are the ultimate mirror, reflecting back to us our clinging, our reactions, our deepest fears, and our most profound capacity for love. The core insight for mindful relationship is this: every conflict with another person is, at its root, a conflict within yourself. This doesn't mean you are always wrong, or that toxic behavior should be tolerated. It means the suffering you experience, the heat of anger, the ache of hurt, the cold wall of resentment, arises from your own unmet expectations, wounded attachments, or the threat to a story you're telling about yourself. The other person is the trigger, the gunpowder is within you. This is not blame. It is profound empowerment. You cannot control another person's behavior, but you have agency over your own inner landscape, your reactions, your stories, your capacity to meet pain with awareness instead of more pain. When you take responsibility for your half of the dynamic, your 50% of the shared psychic space, everything changes. To navigate this, imagine a relationship not as two solid billiard balls knocking into each other, but as two magnetic fields interacting. Your field is composed of your moods, your history, your unconscious triggers, your conscious presence. Theirs is the same. When two fields meet, they create a third, shared energy, the climate of the relationship. You cannot directly control their magnetic field. But by becoming aware of and stabilizing your own, through mindfulness, you fundamentally alter the shared climate. Your calm, non-reactive presence can depolarize a charged situation. Your clarity can untangle a knot of misunderstanding. This is how you change a relationship, not by demanding the other person change their field, but by mastering your own. The primary tool for this is what we might call relational mindfulness. It has two parts: intrapersonal, awareness within yourself during interaction, and interpersonal, awareness of the space between you. Intrapersonal practice: in the midst of a charged conversation, practice internal weather reporting. Split your attention slightly. One part engages. The other part observes your inner climate. Breath is shallow. Jaw is tight. Story arising, they never listen. Heat in the chest. Just this noting, without judgment, creates a life-saving gap between the trigger and your response. It allows you to choose rather than react. Interpersonal practice. This is the cultivation of soft focused listening. Instead of listening to prepare your rebuttal or to diagnose the other, listen as if you are listening to the sound of rain, a whole-body experience. Listen to their words, but also to the tone, the pauses, the emotion behind the words. Listen for the need beneath the position. Often, beneath anger is hurt. Beneath criticism is fear. Beneath withdrawal is a longing for safety. When you listen for the need, your heart can respond with compassion, even if you disagree with the method of communication. A story that shaped my understanding came from a conflict resolution elder in the Maori tradition of New Zealand. He described handling a bitter land dispute between two families. He didn't start with maps or legal rights. He had the families sit together for 3 days and nights, sharing stories. Not stories of the dispute, but stories of their ancestors, their connection to the land, their dreams for their children, their fears of loss. He called it weaving the wariki, the woven floor mat. You cannot resolve a conflict, he said, until you first weave a mat of shared humanity strong enough for both parties to stand on. When they stand on that mat, they see they are not standing on opposite sides. They are standing together, looking at the problem. That wariki is woven from the threads of present moment, vulnerable sharing. In our relationships, we must constantly weave this mat through mindful listening and speech, especially when we'd rather build a wall. This work requires us to face our attachment to being right. In many conflicts, we are less invested in solving the problem than we are in proving our story correct and their story wrong. We fight for the narrative victory. Ask yourself in a stalemate: do I want to be right, or do I want to be connected? Often, you cannot have both in that moment. The willingness to let go of being right, not to admit you are wrong, but to drop the battle over narratives, is an act of immense strength and love. It creates the space for a new, shared story to emerge. We must also apply our practice to loneliness, which is not the absence of people, but the absence of presence, either our own or a sense of it from others. You can feel lonely in a crowd or a marriage if the connection is superficial, transactional, or lost in mutual distraction. The antidote to loneliness is not necessarily more people, it is deeper presence. Being fully present with a single person, a pet, a tree, or even your own breath, can dissolve the ache of loneliness. It reminds you that you are fundamentally connected to the web of life, not a separate fragment awaiting completion by another. Finally, we must speak of boundaries. Mindful relationship is not passive doormat behavior. Clear, compassionate boundaries are an expression of self-respect and love for the other. A boundary is not a threat or an ultimatum. It is a clear, calm statement of what you will do to protect your own peace. I cannot continue this conversation when voices are raised. I'm going to take a walk and we can talk in an hour. This is spoken from your center, not from retaliation. It is right action, protecting both your clarity and the potential for a healthier future connection. In the next part, we will integrate all we've learned into the final, quiet understanding of what it means to be free. We'll explore the culmination of the path, not as a spectacular finish, but as a simple, abiding homecoming to the ordinary miracle of being alive. But for tonight, reflect on one relationship, any relationship. Can you sense the magnetic fields? Can you feel where your own field becomes reactive? Can you imagine, just for a moment, dropping the need to be right, and instead, listening to weave a new mat of shared understanding? The practice begins not with them, but in the quiet observation of your own heart, right here, right now. Let's continue. We've navigated the inner world, the outer world, and the intricate world of relationships. We've built practices and faced challenges. Now, we arrive at a quiet, spacious place. The integration of all this into a single, fluid understanding. What is the fruit of this long journey? What does freedom actually feel like in the fabric of a human life? It is not a state of perpetual bliss. It is not a personality makeover where you become perpetually calm and sweet. The fruit of this practice is something more subtle, more durable, and more ordinary than that. It is embodied wisdom. The capacity to meet everything, the beautiful and the terrible, the mundane and the magnificent, with a heart that is unarmored yet unshattered, and a mind that is clear, curious, and at peace. This freedom is often described as the end of seeking. But what does that mean? Imagine you've been carrying a heavy suitcase for miles, convinced it contains something vital for your survival. You're exhausted, but you dare not put it down. The seeking is the endless checking of the suitcase, the anxiety about losing it, the belief that your destination is wherever the suitcase needs to be. Then, one day, you finally stop. You open it. Inside, you find only bricks, the bricks of your old stories, your conditioned fears, your futile strategies. In that moment of clear seeing, you don't get anything new. You simply put the suitcase down. The relief is instantaneous. The freedom is in the unburdening. The end of seeking isn't arriving at a magical new place. It's the realization that you were already home, and you can stop carrying the weight that convinced you otherwise. So, what characterizes this unburdened life? Let's explore its flavors. First, ease of being. This isn't laziness or passivity. It's the absence of inner friction. Think of a well-maintained gate. When you need to pass through, it swings open smoothly, with just the right amount of resistance. When it needs to stay closed, it holds firm. There's no rust, no squealing, no struggle. Your mind-heart becomes like that gate. When action is needed, energy flows freely into action, without the paralyzing doubt or frantic striving. When rest is needed, you can truly rest, without guilt or restless planning. There is an innate trust in the intelligence of life, and in your own capacity to respond to it. Second, responsive joy. This is different from happiness pursued as a goal. Responsive joy is the capacity to be surprised by delight. It's the spontaneous smile at the sight of a certain quality of light, the chuckle at a child's absurdity, the warm gladness at a friend's good news. Because you are present, you don't miss these micro moments. You don't filter them out while scanning for problems. Your system is tuned to receive nourishment, and so the world constantly offers it. This joy is clean, it doesn't cling to the moment or fear its passing. It simply acknowledges the gift, feels it fully, and lets it go, making room for the next experience. Third, equanimity. The Pali word is upekkha. This is perhaps the most misunderstood quality. It is not indifference. It is not a cold, unfeeling neutrality. Equanimity is the capacity of the heart to hold all things in balance. It is the deep, still floor of the ocean, undisturbed by the storms on the surface. You feel the storm, the grief, the anger, the excitement. But you are not only the storm. There is a part of you that remains grounded, aware, and compassionate toward the turbulence. This allows you to feel intense emotion without being destroyed by it, to receive praise or blame without your sense of worth being yanked up and down. Equanimity is the space that allows all other wholesome states to arise without getting tangled. I witnessed a profound example of this in a hospice nurse named Alara. She worked exclusively with the dying. I asked her how she managed the constant confrontation with loss without burning out. She said, "I don't see myself as facing death. I see myself as midwifing presence." She described sitting with patients, not with a goal to fix or even to comfort in a cliched way, but with a commitment to be utterly present with them, exactly where they were, in pain, in fear, in peace, in memory. "When I am fully there," she said, "a space opens up. Sometimes, in that space, they find their own comfort. Sometimes, they find courage. Sometimes, they just find company for their fear. My job is to hold the space, not to determine what fills it." Her eyes were clear, warm, and held a deep, untroubled peace. She was not untouched by sorrow, she wept often, but she was not collapsed by it. She embodied equanimity, the still ocean floor, holding the movement of life and death with unwavering, compassionate presence. This is the freedom we are cultivating, the freedom to be fully human. To feel the full spectrum without being imprisoned by any part of it. It is the freedom of the sky, which contains clouds, lightning, and radiant sun, yet is never damaged by any of them. You are learning to be the sky of your own experience. How do we nurture this integration? Through a practice of ongoing, gentle inclination. You are not hammering yourself into a new shape. You are leaning, like a plant leans toward the sun, toward certain qualities. Incline toward curiosity over judgment. When a difficult state arises, meet it with, what is this, instead of, ugh, not this again. Incline toward kindness over harshness. Especially toward yourself. Let the inner tone soften. Incline toward simplicity over complication. In moments of overwhelm, ask, what is the one true thing here? What is the one next step? Incline toward connection over isolation. When feelings separate, reach out. Even if just mentally, offering metta to others. This is the maintenance of freedom. It is not a one-time achievement, but a lifelong orientation. In our final part, we will bring our journey full circle. We will sit together in the profound simplicity of what has always been here. We will celebrate the path, not as something behind us, but as the very ground we walk on, here and now. But for tonight, rest in this question: what does it feel like to put the suitcase down? Even if just for a breath. Feel the weight gone from your shoulders. Feel the ease in your stance. That feeling is not in the future. It is available in the pause between this word and the next. It is the silent, spacious reality that has been holding you all along. Let's conclude. We have traveled far together through concepts, practices, and stories. We have explored the mind's habits, the heart's capacity, and the art of living with presence. Now, as we arrive at the end of our formal journey, it is time to shed even the map and the compass. It is time to rest in the simple, undeniable truth of what is. All the teachings, all the metaphors, all the careful instructions, they are like a finger pointing at the moon. Do not mistake the finger for the moon. Do not cling to the words. The words are just sounds. The practices are just gestures. Their sole purpose has been to direct your attention back, again and again, to the alive, aware, present reality that is reading these words, hearing this voice, breathing this breath. This. Here. Now. That is the moon. That is the destination that was never distant. That is the home you never left. So, let us do nothing now. Let us practice non-practice. Let's simply be together in silence, not as a technique, but as a celebration of what is already complete. If you wish, close your eyes. Or leave them softly open. It makes no difference. There is breathing happening. You are not doing it. Life is breathing you. Feel that. There are sounds in the space around you. They are not interruptions. They are part of the texture of this moment. Let them be. There is a body sitting or lying down. It is being held by the earth, by a chair, by a bed. Feel the utter support. You are being held. Thoughts may arise. Let them. They are like birds flying through the vast sky of your awareness. You are not the birds. You are the sky. The sky does not cling to the birds or protest their passing. It simply provides the space for their flight. In this simple noticing, there is no problem to be solved. No self to improve. No past to regret. No future to secure. There is just this. This aliveness. This awareness. This present experiencing. It is ordinary beyond measure. It is the common ground of all existence. And it is utterly sacred. This is the peace you've been seeking. It was not hidden in a special state, a perfect condition, or an enlightened personality. It was hidden in plain sight, disguised as your own face before you were born, disguised as the feeling of your own hand, disguised as the next breath you will take. The journey was never about becoming someone else. It was about ceasing to pretend you are not already whole. It was about stopping the war with this moment, and with the being that is experiencing it. So, as we part ways in this structured form, remember, the temple was never a building. The temple is the quality of your attention. Monk's temple is wherever you are when you remember to be here. You carry it with you. In the checkout line. In the difficult meeting. In the quiet dawn. In the embrace of a loved one. In the face of loss. When you forget, and you will, because you are human. That is okay. Forgetting is just another cloud in the sky. The moment you notice you've forgotten, you are already back. That noticing is the miracle. That is the practice, forever, the gentle, forgiving return to this breath, this sensation, this undeniable now. There is no grand finale. There is only the endless, beginningless present, welcoming you back endlessly. You are enough. This moment is enough. And from this enoughness, life can be met not as a problem, but as a profound and curious engagement. Thank you for sharing this time, this listening, this presence. Wherever you go, whatever you do, may you walk gently on this earth. May your heart be at ease. May you remember the sky-like nature of your own mind. The conversation does not end here. It continues in your next conscious breath. In your next moment of kindness. In your next instant of simply being here. You are home. Welcome home.